Hi, and welcome. There is a lesson that I've learned this week, or I got reminded of, and I really think it's very important. So I'd like to share it with you because, motivation is good, and we get lost sometimes, and we need inspiration, and we need to get reminded of things that are really important, or the methods that we can use, or the things that we can do when we are not in the right place. So there was a day in this week when I didn't feel really good. It was, I got overwhelmed by negative thinking, negative thoughts. I just couldn't get out of it. What usually helps is, if I have a week that is scheduled properly and that I don't get overwhelmed, that I don't do too much things, these don't usually occur. But as I'm a human being, I make mistakes, and this is what happened this week. So I got overwhelmed one morning and I couldn't stop thinking negative things. And in the evening, or I tried to meditate in between, it didn't work. I tried to have a conversation, it didn't work that well. I just constantly keep on getting back on, in the spiral of negative thinking. So then I got reminded by a very dear friend of mine of a couple of methods that we can use to get ourselves out of, negative spiral. And this is something that I'd like to share with you this week, and I hope it serves you because it helped me, and I'm pretty sure that it can help you as well. And I'd like to share a couple of methods. And the first one is that the more we work on ourselves, the more conscious we get of our negativity. And this is what happens to me every time. I know, and even that time in this week's period that happened to me, I knew that I was in a bad place, that I shouldn't be doing what I was doing or thinking negatively and stuff like that. I just couldn't get out of it. But if you get reminded constantly of a couple of these things that I'm going to share, and the first one being is you need to stop. You certainly need to stop. This is the first thing that you need to do when you find yourself in a bad place, in a negative thinking spiral, which is usually, it ends up bad. We all know that. You just need to stop. And the first thing after you stop is you ask yourself this question, and is the thoughts that I am having, are they serving me? Or is this something that I want to be partaking in? This is a hard question to answer, but it focuses us on something else, and it takes away the power or the energy that we keep on fueling into that negative emotions and thoughts that we have at that time. And the second thing that's really really important is that you move out of the environment that is helping you or it's not serving you at the moment, because very often it happens that we get in a negative place, or a negative thoughts, just because we are somewhere that is not in a very it's not a very positive energy wise environment. And that's the second thing you should do. After you stop, after you ask that question, you need to move, you need to change. And the third thing that usually helps is that you keep on that you start moving, you start stretching your body, or you go exercise, or you do something. And combination of these three things helped me this week to get me out of the bad place. And I'm pretty sure if you do it, it will do the same to you. So first of all, you need to stop physically and mentally. Ask yourself a couple of questions that will lead to answer you, that you will see, okay, this is not something that is serving me. The thoughts, the negativity is not serving me. You should want to stop that. And then you want to move, you want to get away from that place and find some place that energizes you. And if you physically move as well, start exercising or do something physically, go work on the garden or whatever. It usually helps to get our thoughts in a different position, a different place. And this is usually something that works well. It worked for me this week, and I hope it works for you as well. So I encourage you to do that when you don't feel perfectly well, which will happen. It happens to anybody, even if you're a top executive rock and roll human being, and life is good for you most of the time. It happens to anybody, and these are just a couple of things that we can do. But my question for contemplation this week has also been something that I'd like to share. Is when you are in a bad place, it's super hard to get out of it, because you just keep negative emotions and thoughts on top of a negative, and it's really hard to do those three things. And I was really contemplating or thinking a lot about this week. uh, when you are there, it's so hard to get out of it. And the best solution or the best answer to that question I come up with uh, is that you need to practice as much as you can being in a present moment and working on yourself. Because if you have the routines and you are in the environment that serves you and around people that serves you, it will be easier for you to think of the methods that will help you when you start the negative thinking. So when you're in a bad position, do those three things, and there are plenty more that you can do, but they serve me and I'm sure it will help you to some degree as well. And on the other hand, if you're asking yourself, as I was this week, how can I get, how can I not stay in that position so long? The best answer to that is try to work on yourself when you're in a good place, because the more we are there, the more we are connected with ourselves, the more we are, uh, the more we are aware of the methods and the things that we can use when the negative thoughts start to happen. So this is something that I would like to share with you this week. I hope it serves you, helps you, and I'll see you next week.